How does a team complete well over 200 passes in a single half, control nearly 60% of the possession, feature arguably the greatest playmaker of his generation, and still find themselves needing a desperate 23-second miracle just to avoid total humiliation?
I mean, it sounds impossible on paper.
Right.
Yeah.
But picture the scene. You are standing inside Lumen Field in Seattle. It's the 2026 World Cup Group G opener.
The energy there must have been absolutely chaotic.
Oh, completely electric. Almost 67,000 fans pressing in around you. On the pitch, you have this European giant Belgium. They're heavily favored, loaded with elite talent, and squaring off against Egypt.
Yeah, and if you look at the projections, this was supposed to be just a straightforward coronation for the Belgians.
Exactly. And then when the whistle actually blows, the entire expected narrative just, well, it violently shatters in real time.
The contrast between what we thought would happen and the physical reality on that pitch is staggering. You have meticulous, elegant game plans on one side, and then raw, unpredictable human elements completely hijacking the match on the other.
I was actually watching some of the fan reaction videos that flooded YouTube right after the final whistle, and the sheer disbelief is just something to behold.
I bet.
People are just losing their minds at their screens. In the 19th minute, Egypt's Imam Ashour unleashes this absolute screamer from way outside the box to put the Pharaohs up 1-0, and this is totally against the run of play.
Completely out of nowhere.
Yeah, and one fan, in a state of pure euphoria, called it a clanger-banger-spanger.
A what? That's amazing.
Right. I think that needs to be added to the official tactical glossary immediately. And another fan is yelling about how this goal has thrown a cat amongst the pigeons before correcting himself mid-scream to say, wait, it's Egypt, so it's a sphinx amongst the pigeons.
That's hilarious.
And the Belgians are the pigeons, obviously.
Well, it captures the mood perfectly.
Yeah.
You know? The panic from the Belgian supporters wasn't just about going down a goal.
Yeah.
No, it was the sudden realization that their sophisticated system was failing them. Breaking down.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our mission for this deep dive is to look way beyond that 1-1 scoreboard. We are going to figure out the actual physical mechanics of the tactical masterclass Egypt pulled off.
Right, there's so much to dig into there.
There is. We are going to look at that desperate brute force substitution of a recovering Romelu Lukaku that saved Belgium's tournament in, what, a matter of seconds?
23 seconds, yeah.
Just wild. And maybe most importantly, we need to explore the historic underlying rivalry between two Premier League legends, Mohamed Salah and Kevin De Bruyne, who are out there pulling the strings for both sides.
Yeah, that dynamic is just fascinating.
Because to you listening, whether you are a diehard tactical analyst who, charts passing lanes in your free time, or just someone drawn to a massive redemption story, this match is a perfect case study. It shows what happens when beautiful theories get punched in the mouth by reality.
You really cannot separate the tactical X's and O's of this match from the immense psychological weight these players brought onto the pitch.
Sure.
Before we even talk about formations, you have to consider the two captains dictating everything. Salah and De Bruyne. You have two 30-something legends meeting on the opposite side of the world, staring down the twilight of their international careers.
Yeah, the clock is definitely ticking for both of them.
Exactly. And their shared origin story adds a layer of almost painful poetic irony to the whole thing. If you go back to West London, the early 2010s.
Oh, at Chelsea.
Right. Both of them were sitting on the bench at Chelsea under Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
Essentially deemed surplus to requirements. I mean, De Bruyne started just 2 league games during his stint.
2 games? That's just crazy to think about now.
And Salah scored only twice.
They were basically told they didn't fit the system, which is wild when you look at the explosive divergence into absolute royalty that happened right after that.
Oh, completely.
The sources highlight this staggering statistical reality. Salah goes to Liverpool and racks up 257 goals and 122 assists.
Incredible numbers.
Right. And De Bruyne goes to Manchester City and becomes the ultimate midfield maestro, 108 goals and 170 assists. They have shared multiple Player of the Year awards. They have literally defined a decade of English football.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, despite all of those domestic trophies and, all the individual accolades, neither has captured the ultimate international prize.
That's true. The World Cup has eluded both of them.
De Bruyne came incredibly close, dragging Belgium's so-called golden generation to a third-place finish in 2018.
And Salah missed his chance to make a real impact in that same 2018 tournament because of that devastating shoulder injury.
Right, the one involving Sergio Ramos in the Champions League final.
Yeah. And then Egypt completely missed out on the 2022 World Cup in Qatar.
Which was a huge blow. And De Bruyne himself admitted back in 2022 that his team was getting, quote, too old. Now it's 2026. The window is closing.
It really is.
And that pressure, that fear of letting this final opportunity slip away, it changes how a player makes decisions in real time.
But let me challenge that narrative a bit, if I can.
Sure, go for it.
If Salah and De Bruyne are these monumental figures carrying the weight of their nations, is it fair to say they've actually been masking the terminal flaws of their national teams for years?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Think of it like putting a Ferrari engine into a standard factory-issue sedan.
Okay, I follow.
Sure, you can hit incredible speeds on the straightaways because the engine is a masterpiece. But eventually the suspension is going to give out, the chassis is going to rattle apart, and the whole thing is going to end up in a ditch.
Yeah, the structure just can't support the power.
Exactly. You can't rely on one genius to carry a flawed system forever. So, whose flaws were exposed first when the whistle actually blew in Seattle?
Well, I'd argue the flaws were exposed almost immediately on both sides, but in entirely different ways. The Ferrari engine analogy works perfectly when you look at the mechanics of how these two teams operate.
Okay, how so?
For years, De Bruyne's unparalleled vision has compensated for Belgium's aging defensive line and their glaring lack of speed in transition. He reads the game 2 steps ahead.
Right, so the rest of the team doesn't actually have to run as fast.
Precisely. And on the flip side, Salah's sheer gravitational pull on defenders, plus his clinical finishing, have masked Egypt's historical lack of creative depth in the central midfield.
Because everyone is just so focused on stopping Salah.
Exactly. But when you put those two flawed sedans on the track against each other, individual brilliance cancels out. The tactical setups become the deciding factor.
Which brings us to the actual physical clash on the pitch. Both managers, Rudi Garcia for Belgium, Hassam Hassan for Egypt, rolled out the exact same formation, a 4-2-3-1.
You did.
But I'm looking at the halftime stats here from our sources, and I am honestly confused by the discrepancy between the numbers and the reality of the match.
The stats are pretty wild.
Belgium completely controlled the ball. They held 58% possession. They completed 224 passes compared to Egypt's 152.
Just dominating the ball.
Yeah, and they had 49 final third entries to Egypt's 12, 14 touches inside the Egyptian penalty box compared to just 4 for Egypt in Belgium's box.
Right.
If you just handed me the spreadsheet without the scoreline, I would assume Belgium was putting on a total clinic.
Yeah.
How does a team survive that level of statistical dominance?
Because a spreadsheet measures volume, not penetration.
Huh.
When two teams mirror each other with a 4-2-3-1 formation, the game naturally becomes a series of man-to-man battles across the pitch. Unless, of course, someone breaks the lines.
Which Belgium couldn't seem to do.
Right. What Egypt did brilliantly was deploy a meticulously drilled mid-block. Let's look at how that physically works. Egypt didn't press high up the pitch to chase the ball.
They just let Belgium have it in their own half.
Exactly. They dropped back and created this dense, organized wall right at the halfway line. The two defensive midfielders in Egypt's system, Hamdi Fathi and Mohamed Hani, had one primary job.
Which was?
Completely choke off the half spaces where Kevin De Bruyne likes to operate.
So when Belgium center backs are passing the ball back and forth, racking up those 224 completed passes, they aren't actually hurting Egypt?
Not at all. It's sterile possession.
It's like trying to play a high-speed game of chess inside a phone booth. Belgium has all their most powerful pieces on the board, but they have absolutely no spatial geometry to actually move them.
The phone booth is the perfect visual, and Hassam Hassan gave his Egyptian players a very specific set of instructions regarding where to fight their battles.
Oh, like what?
Well, Belgium was allowed to win the aerial duels, and they did, winning an astonishing 85% of them in the first half.
Wow, 85%.
Yeah, but the air isn't where De Bruyne makes his killer incisive passes. The ground is where the game is won. And Egypt fiercely contested the ground, winning 26 of 44 ground duels.
That's like, what, 59%?
Yes, 59%. That means every time a Belgian winger like Jeremy Doku tried to dribble into the box or De Bruyne tried a quick combination pass, an Egyptian player was immediately there.
Just absorbing the pressure and breaking up the play.
Exactly.
And then, the moment they break it up, they hit hard in transition. Which brings us back to that 19th minute goal. Salah, who is usually the tip of the spear, the guy making the run into the box, suddenly drifts out wide into empty space.
Which is a brilliant tactical adjustment.
Right, and by doing that, he physically pulls the Belgian defensive structure completely out of alignment. He feeds Imam Asher, who is surging up from the midfield.
Asher was everywhere that game.
He really was. He ended up with a massive 7.7 SOFA score rating for doing all the dirty work in the middle. And he unleashes that clanger, banger, spanger to beat Thibaut Courtois.
It's just ruthless efficiency. I mean, Egypt had only 4 touches inside the Belgian box the entire half, yet they went into the locker room up 1-0.
4 touches. Unbelievable.
Belgium spent 45 minutes doing all the aesthetic, exhausting work of modern football, the intricate passing, the high possession, without generating a single shot on target.
Which brings us to the second half and the absolute death of sophistication. You could literally feel the anxiety radiating through the stadium.
Oh, the tension was palpable.
Belgium realizes their elegant passing game is short-circuiting. De Bruyne narrowly misses a shot early in the match, and then in the 53rd minute, he painfully clangs another attempt right off the left post.
So close.
You can see the frustration boiling over on his face. They are running out of time, and the intricate geometry just isn't working against that Egyptian mid-block.
They needed a battering ram.
They really did. So in the 66th minute, Rudy Garcia makes his move. Romelu Lukaku, who is recovering from a hamstring injury and rested during the U.S. friendlies specifically to be ready for this tournament, is subbed onto a massive standing ovation.
And this is where the mechanics of the game fundamentally shift in an instant. Exactly 23 seconds later, the match is tied.
23 seconds. Lukaku lurches down the middle of the pitch. A cross comes in from the right side. Now, you go back to the fan reactions. Everyone is screaming that Lukaku scored on his very first touch.
Right. It certainly looked like it in real time.
But officially, it went down as an own goal.
Yeah, Egypt's defender, Mohamed Hani, who had been brilliant all game neutralizing Belgium's wingers, was just so desperate to beat the massive frame of Lukaku to the ball that he accidentally turned it into his own net.
But the point is, Lukaku doesn't even have to touch the ball to break the game wide open. His mere physical presence forces the catastrophic error.
What is truly fascinating here is the cascading mechanical effect a player like Lukaku has on an opposing defense.
How do you mean?
Well, we talked about Egypt's disciplined mid-block, how their center backs were stepping up to crowd the midfield and suffocate De Bruyne.
Right.
For 65 minutes, that worked perfectly. Then suddenly, a 6'3", 220-pound physical anomaly enters the penalty area. As a defender, you can no longer step up into the midfield.
You just can't risk it.
No, you have to drop 5 yards deeper just to manage the sheer physical threat of a classic target man.
And dropping those 5 yards suddenly creates the exact pockets of space in the midfield that De Bruyne has been searching for all afternoon.
Precisely. Tactical discipline often completely evaporates when you have a striker of that size barreling toward your 6-yard box. You stop playing the zone, you stop trusting the system, and you start playing the man out of pure survival instinct.
It's just panic.
It is. That momentary panic, that disruption of the defensive geometry is what causes the own goal. Egypt's structural integrity broke for a fraction of a minute, and that was all Belgium needed.
It's raw, unfiltered chaos. But I have to bring up these post-match quotes from the sources because they paint a really concerning picture for Belgium moving forward.
Oh, the quotes are very revealing.
Yeah, their captain, Yuri Tielemans, openly admitted they were, quote, too static, and stated point blank that they needed Lukaku because he's a target man.
Just completely blunt about it.
And the coach, Rudy Garcia, confessed that his team left a lot to be desired, technically, pointing out that only 20% of their shots were actually on target.
Yikes.
Meanwhile, Egypt's coach, Hossam Hassan, insisted the match showed Egypt was closer to earning the win.
You can hear the profound relief in the Belgian camp masking a deep structural anxiety juxtaposed with the bitter frustration of the Egyptians, who know they executed their plan almost flawlessly.
But I want to push back on what Tielemans is saying there.
Okay.
If the captain of the Belgian national team comes out and explicitly admits that they only survived the group stage opener because they threw a giant target man into the box to cause a panic, isn't that a massive blinking red flag for Rudy Garcia?
It definitely is.
Doesn't that effectively mean your sophisticated possession-based plan A was a total unmitigated failure?
It is the ultimate red flag. When your primary strategy revolves around intricate passing and spatial dominance, and it gets completely neutralized by a well-drilled opponent who simply refuses to give you the ground.
You're kind of stuck.
You have to ask serious questions about your team's adaptability. Relying on Plan B, which in this specific case was abandoning the tactical playbook, throwing the big man up top, and crossing your fingers.
It's not exactly tactical genius.
Exactly. It is not a sustainable strategy for navigating a World Cup. It saved them for 23 seconds in Seattle, but it publicly broadcasted to every other team in the tournament that Belgium's sophisticated machinery can be broken by sheer defensive resolve.
The Sphinx definitely got among the pigeons and exposed the wires inside the machine. So let's bring this all together for you listening at home.
Good idea.
We started this journey inside the chaotic, deafening bowl of Lumen Field, staring down a shocking 1-1 draw that completely defied the halftime statistics.
Truly a game of two halves.
We explored the deep psychological currents running beneath the surface, watching two aging Premier League legends, Mohamed Salah and Kevin De Bruyne, fight a proxy war through their national teams.
Carrying the ghosts of their shared Chelsea past.
Right, and the heavy weight of their closing championship windows. We broke down the mechanics of a tactical stalemate, seeing firsthand how a match is absolutely not won by just holding onto the ball for 224 passes.
But by the ruthless spatial efficiency of what a team does when they finally break the lines.
Exactly. And we witnessed a 23-second miracle where a European giant had to completely abandon its elegant identity for blunt, terrifying force just to save its skin.
It was a beautiful, deeply messy collision of contrasting styles and philosophies.
So what does this all mean? Why does this one specific group stage match matter to the person listening to this deep dive right now?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it serves as a powerful reminder that in life, just as on the pitch, you can possess all the meticulous planning, all the premium resources, and all the sheer volume of effort in the world.
You can have Belgium's 58% possession.
Right, their endless sideways passing, their aesthetic dominance. But all of that preparation can be completely undone by one single moment of ruthless efficiency.
Like Imam Ashur exploiting a momentary gap in the defense.
Precisely. And conversely, when your highly sophisticated, elegant plans inevitably fail, sometimes the only thing that will save you is the bluntest, simplest solution available.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't always need a masterclass in spatial geometry to solve a problem. Sometimes you just need a Romelu Lukaku to crash into the box, disrupt the status quo, and force an error.
Sometimes you just have to stop overthinking the chess match, break the glass, and hit the panic button.
Exactly.
But as we watch these incredible generation-defining icons like Salah and De Bruyne reach the absolute twilight of their international careers, this match leaves us with a massive, lingering question about the future of the sport itself.
Oh, for sure.
As we look ahead to the next decade of World Cups, will the ultimate prize consistently belong to these cohesive, egoless tactical systems that grind out efficient results from the mid-block? Or will we, as fans and analysts, always find ourselves relying on the chaotic, unpredictable individual magic of a single superstar to step onto the pitch and completely rewrite the script in 23 seconds?
It's a great question.
It's definitely something to think about the next time you find yourself entirely consumed by a spreadsheet of statistics while the actual game is being won in the dirt.